Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Terrell. For those who don't know me, listen, I just kind of wanted to talk to you all for a couple of minutes here. Hopefully, I don't take too long. My wife normally tells me I get long-winded, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But I will try to, I'll just let my feelings go, and we'll see what happens and where we go from there. All right. Listen, I just kind of wanted to take a few minutes just to kind of talk to you all and just to, you know, lay a few things out on the table. Some things that I kind of had on my heart and on my mind lately is, you know, the past couple of days, or I would say over this past weekend, or up until this past weekend, I kind of been asking myself, where am I going? I mean, where am I really going? Where am I headed? I mean, I have an idea, but it's kind of a dangerous place to be when you really don't know for certain. It's often said it's easier to move or it's easier to steer a moving vehicle than it is to move than it is to steer one that is standing still. So, are you moving or are we standing still? And then how would you really know the difference? It's really something to think about there. You know, Obviously, I was just started and launched a company called Legal. Well, I didn't launch it, but I launched my business of Legal Shield, and it is really something I'm really excited about it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really excited about it. And it's really hard to work for something or to work at something when you really don't have a connection here. Well, I'll tell you my story just real shortly of why I joined LegalShield and why I chose to use the product and why I chose to make it a business. Well, first, right, this is how you know a long story is going to get there. Well, first of all, I will say I have experience with being a victim of identity theft. I have experience with dealing with legal issues. Previous and currently. So let's talk about the identity theft here for a second. Oftentimes I ask people three questions. Hey, do you on level 1 to 3? Do you feel identity theft is important? And they'll often give me a 2 or a 3, and I'll ask them if they have it. Oftentimes the answer is no, and I'll ask if they want more information. And that question there, you'd be surprised how many people say no. They don't even want the information for fear that receiving a piece of paper or going to a website or clicking on a link is instantaneously going to sign them up and they're going to be obligated to something. Well, think about this. I know people that I've done surveys with just like that, and they've given me answers of, oh, well, they could have my credit score. I ain't got nothing anyway. They could have this, they could have that. They'll just be practicing. Really? Now let's think about that. And it's okay if that's the way that they feel, and I respect that. But let's really let's open the aperture just a little bit. What is your identity? Your identity is you. If you got pulled over tomorrow for the arrest of Terrell Ford for murdering him or for murdering a guy or a person, let's just say, how can you convince the police that you're not who you say you are? Because when everybody else in jail say, oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. That's identity theft. How are you going to prove to the FBI, CIA, NSA, DEA, any agency, any law enforcement, anybody that you are who you say you are? It's kind of an impossible task when you don't know your identity. Your identity ties into more than just you. It ties directly into your legacy. Your legacy is your child, your children's children, and your children's children's children, and so forth and so on. So do you choose to create a generational curse, or do you choose to protect your legacy? My experience with identity theft, I'll tell you, I was serving overseas at the time. I'm active duty military for those who don't know. And I've been in for just a little bit over 13 years now. And at the time, I was working at American embassies and came back home, get situated, got a brand new phone, brand new courier, brand new number. Never had it before in my life. And 3 days later, I get a phone call from a Century 21, and they say, hey, you owe us some money for not paying on the house. And I'm like, whoa, click, prank call it again. Hey, listen, I'm gonna need you to stop calling this phone. I don't know how you got this number. Thank you. Click. And they call it again. I figure, hey, lightning strikes twice sometimes, but never 3 times. At least not that I've heard of. I'm gonna Google it later. Anyways, I answer the phone, get the information, and sure enough, I say, hey, you need to transfer me to your fraud department right now. I'm a victim of identity theft. Long process. Ridiculous what I had to go through to show them and prove to them. And I get that they're doing their job. But the things that I had to do and to prove that I was who I said I was and I was where I said I was at, and whether my signature was on that document or not, and my bank account statements were what they said they were or not, is ridiculous. Ask me this: when the last time you heard of a 12-year-old buying a house? This is what this 20-page document is telling me. This right here is the final disposition saying, hey, you know what, Terrell, you're clear and everything is, going to be off your credit report. Unfortunately, my credit report went from the 700s to the 500s. Now that's something to think about, especially when you have big plans to buy a brand new car. Imagine that. How would that make you feel? You got plans to buy a car, and the only thing that's deterring you from buying that car is your credit score, because now your interest rate has skyrocketed because of that. Regardless of the proof that you have, regardless of the things that you say, guess what? What's in the system is in the system, and it's going to stay there until it takes its natural course, because of one thing that I wish I had a program like this. I really do. But that's enough identity theft. All right. I also have experience with the legal system. All right. No, I've never been in jail, never been anything like that. But when my mother passed, I had to deal with lawyers. Expensive. And not only was it expensive, come to find out, I didn't even need the documents that they sent me. Now, who do you go to? I mean, imagine that. It's kind of like, hey, if you're wronged by the police, who do you call? Like, the police? Okay. So if you're wronged by a lawyer, who do you call? Do you call another lawyer and pay another fee and so forth and so on? I mean, when does it stop? Even right now, to this day, to this very second, at the time that I'm making this video, I'm still going through a legal process with immigration. It's nothing that I did wrong on my part. It's something that the system messed up on, but I have to pay for it. So how would that make you feel? I mean, imagine it's like you serve your country, you're faithful, you're patriotic, you're doing everything right. You follow the steps. It says do this, you do that. You're where you're supposed to be. Everything is, all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And they say, nope, here you go. You wasn't here because we did this, and you didn't know. That's not our problem. You're still going to have to go through the court system. Now I had to go through multiple lawyers to find the right lawyer. $100, $200, $300 consultation fees for a 30-second call that could have been made. To find one lawyer right now and say, hey, you know what? I'll take your case and we'll help you. Thank you. Finally. But $6,000 later, I'm still paying for something that wasn't even my fault. Is that really fair, family? Life isn't fair. I get that. Trust me. Of all people, I know that from personal experience on many levels. But what I'm trying to say is, if we don't know our rights, we don't have any. So just think about that. I mean, really, how would that make you feel? You do everything right, and then say, no, you still have to pay a lawyer and go through this system because of XYZ. I'm just saying. But just think about that. But enough of that. That's the overall view of how I really feel strongly about this product, about this service, about this business, about my business. And if you don't have that level of commitment, if you don't have that tie directly into it, there's absolutely no way that anybody else will believe what you're saying or what you're trying to do. Honestly, I'm just trying to make a more secure future and success for my family. I want to be able to have my daughter be left a legacy, not just a piece of paper. Come on now. Let's think outside the box. I mean, what happened to our dreams? What happened to our goals? Think about it. When you were little, what did you want to be? All right? Did you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, teacher, maybe? I don't know. But whatever it is that you wanted to be, what stopped you? Because as a kid, there was nothing in this world that could convince you otherwise. But life happened. And things start to change, and things start to kind of move around and get into your life. And you start to either become a victim or a product of society because you chose that route. I chose not to take that route. But that was my choice. You have your choices and I have mine. We live with them, we push on. But it's never too late. Because I'll tell you right now, family, what you speak today is what you live tomorrow. And if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. And I have had the distinct pleasure of meeting a millionaire this weekend. Imagine that. Never in my life would I ever thought that I would meet a millionaire. But I'll tell you, that gentleman, Mr. Chris Hughes, he poured something into me that I don't think he realized. And it was more of confirmation. But I knew that I was there by divine purpose. I was where I was supposed to be by divine purpose, family. And I'll tell you, it wasn't this, hey, money, 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 money. He spoke from the heart. And that's what I appreciate. That's what I appreciated. And more importantly, I appreciate the people that introduced me to the business that allowed me to be in that position. You show me your friends, I'll show you your family. Mr. and Mrs. Chandler, Miss Yolanda Chandler, Mr. Orlando Chandler, the phenomenal couple family that brought me into the business, they have been continuously pouring into me, continuously developing me to be successful. And I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard of a man by the name of Mr. Brian Carruthers, I challenge you to look him up. I challenge you to look him up. Very successful. Very successful. And I'll tell you, have you ever had that feeling where, you're at a graduation or someone that you really love and that you care about do something awesome? Even if it's at a graduation and you say, Terrell Ford. He stands up and I walk across the stage, but you're very proud of that. Because you know that in some way, shape, form, that you played a major part in that person's life. Whether it was that one time you gave him that advice, that one butt whooping you gave him that's kept him out of jail, or something. Maybe even took him into your home and gave him shelter. But when they mentioned his name, it ignited a volcano in you. And it just erupted. And that's what caused you to clap, enjoy, and celebrate. I'll tell you, when I heard Mr. Brian Carruthers mention Mr. and Mrs. Chandler, wow. I'll tell you, I've never had anyone that I've known personally, especially someone that I have direct access to, name be mentioned from someone that's successful. And to be a part of that family, to be a part of that team, family, I had to realign myself. I had to check my priorities. I started this business initially believing in it. I was determined. Hey, I printed off things. I was, doing what I do best. But after that day, after that meeting, and after the conference call we had with Mr. Carruthers yesterday, I believed. I believe wholeheartedly, hey, you know what? If I could get 20 people that were like-minded like me, that is a phenomenal circle. It won't stop there, but that's a start. And that's why I'm pushing 20 people. Just 20. I have 500 and some odd friends. Wow. I wonder if I could get 20 out of them. I wonder if they believe in themselves that much. Do you believe in yourselves that much? Whether you do or whether you don't. My point is this. You show me your friends, I will show you your future. And what you speak today is what you live tomorrow. And I'm telling you right now, family, I am successful. I am successful. I am going to find these 20 people within these 30 days. I am going to make sure that my family is successful and wealthy and comfortable. I tell you, I'm active duty military, but it's not promised to me tomorrow. It's not. So what am I going to leave behind? If they say, hey, we appreciate you, but no thank you. Do I really want to work a 9-to-5 job? No. Been there, done that. I get bored with that. I want to do something I'm passionate about, which is why I'm pushing LegalShield so much, because I have an invested interest in it emotionally. It's not necessarily about the financial piece. That'll come because I'm going to be successful. I am successful. But I have an emotional tie because I know firsthand what it can do to help people and change lives. The plans and the business. So I challenge you, family. First, I really can't express enough the thank yous that I've had for the people that I have helped so far. And it's not a problem. It's never about me. It's always about you. But I challenge you. Look at the information. Get the information. This video is just to kind of, summarize why I joined this business, why I believe in this business, and why I am successful in this business. I want to take you with me. I walk through life just like this, one hand up, one hand back. As I get pulled up and people are dragging me along, guess what? I'm going to pull you up and drag you up with me. Absolutely. Absolutely. I lead by inspiration, not intimidation. And I'll tell you, when you figure that out in life, in any corporate job, in any position, guess what? You have an advantage. Because now people will want to follow you instead of rebel. Well, family, hey, it's already been 16, going now 17 minutes. And listen, I thank you very much for all your time. And I apologize if it's too long, but I don't. Because I hope that something that you've heard here today through my testimony, maybe through my pain, has actually spoke to you. And maybe it'll knock that volcano up in you to say, hey, you know what? It's time for me to get off my butt. It's time for me to do something. Maybe this is for you. Maybe it's not. You never know. Don't be afraid to open the link. Share it. Because a lot of the world do not know about LegalShield. Help me promote my business. Thank you, friends, family, loved ones, Mr. and Mrs. Chandler. Most importantly, my wife, I love you. Mwah. She's probably downstairs right now wondering why I'm talking so loud. But listen, family, anyways, if you need anything, as usual, hey, please give me a call. Reach out to me. Send me an email at terrellford@legalshieldassociates.com. I love you. God bless.